Demonic Tutor is an exceptionally good magic card, and I don't really have any hot takes about it. Tutors are often debated within Magic's various communities, though. Some people like them, some people don't. So I thought it might be fun to talk about the OG Tutor and share my thoughts on it. Demonic Tutor is a sorcery that costs 1 and a black mana, and it lets you search through your deck for a single card and put that card into your hand. There's no restriction as to what card you can get, and you don't need to reveal that card. This is a powerful effect, and I don't think it's that hard to see why. It effectively acts as an additional copy of every card in your deck, or any card. It can be any card you need for that specific situation, for 2 extra mana. That's pretty good. Now, this often boils down to being used to get combo pieces to help win, and the biggest criticism of tutor cards is that they improve consistency way too much. Magic is always fighting between consistency and variance, and every person has their own opinion on where Magic should aim for on that spectrum. I'm not sure what the correct answer is here, but people that value consistency tend to have higher opinions on tutors than people that prefer the excitement of variance. Demonic Tutor is playable and legal in a few formats, but as far as I know, there isn't a single format that will let you play more than one. I'm really interested in your opinion on this as well. Do you think that cards like Demonic Tutor are bad for the game? Do you enjoy playing with them, or loath to see them across the table? I think it's an interesting point of contention, and I'm always happy to have more perspectives, so I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Personally, I really like the card, but I don't think it's appropriate in all forms of Magic. I tend to be a casual player, so unbalanced cards don't really bother me all that much, and my playgroups play around what's fun, not optimizing the meta for victory. It's hard for me to have a negative opinion on cards that could be oppressive because my friends and I control for that. I guess my point here is that I'm pretty biased, so take what I say with a grain of salt. There isn't much to say about the history of this card. It still sees play in Vintage and pretty much any other format it's legal in. It was printed in Alpha to Revised, which means it was technically legal in Standard. Type 2 was created in January of 1995, which is the format that we now call Standard. At the time, Standard actually had a restricted list, which Demonic Tutor was on. So even when the card was Standard legal, you could only play one copy. Demonic Tutor does get considerable love from Wizards of the Coast though, as it's reprinted a decent amount. It hasn't been in a standard set in a long time, but it has shown up in a dual deck, a few master sets, and it's been a judge promo, and at least one secret layer. Another thing of note, I guess, is this card was probably a major contributor to the Satanic Panic that Magic had to deal with, like many other nerdy hobbies at the time. As a response to some of the criticism, Wizards of the Coast edited some of the artwork to remove satanic imagery. Demonic Tutor would miss out on this treatment, if not for Summer Magic, code-named Edgar. If those words don't mean anything to you, I'll give you a brief explanation. Revised cards were really washed out and had some other issues that Wizards of the Coast wanted to fix, such as the satanic imagery and Serendib Ifrit's messed up frame. So they made a second print run of Revised with the saturation turned up to 11. But this print run had many other issues, including a blue framed hurricane, which is pretty neat. Long story short, most of the product was recalled and destroyed, making Summer Magic cards incredibly rare. The Demonic Tutor version of Summer Magic had the pentagram removed from his forehead, but not from his chest, which is kinda neat. The original art hasn't really been used since, other than Magic 30 and a couple of Magic the Gathering online exclusive sets. But the pentagram was replaced, or restored rather, in those sets, making the Summer Magic version of the art even more rare. Yeah, that's pretty neat, right? Anyway, the original art was illustrated by Douglas Schuler, but that's far from the only art. This version of Demonic Tutor was illustrated by Darkin for a Judge Gift promo, and The art also appears in Magic Online, and this piece is pretty sweet. Scott Chow illustrated this artwork, and this one is fairly common. It includes Liliana, a pretty famous Magic character, and a big ol' spooky demon. It's far from my favorite piece, but that's just a personal opinion. The art itself is very well done. The next most common art you'll probably see in the wild comes from Ultimate and Masters, and this piece was illustrated by Zach Stella. This art is great, but it feels like it's lost the plot a bit in my opinion. Then we have this art here, which is probably the rarest art, but I could be wrong on that. As far as I understand it, it only appears on a Judge Gift promo from 2020. It was illustrated by Anna Steinbar? Sorry if I got that wrong. And this one is pretty awesome. I believe the implication here is that her doll is possessed and whispering dark and evil knowledge to the little girl. And that's a really interesting take on the story. Wow, there are a lot of arts for Demonic Tutor. For such a busted card, they sure like printing it a lot. Probably because it keeps selling. This one was illustrated by Anato Finstark for Strixhaven Mystical Archives, and the art is really cool. The border isn't my cup of tea, but the art is fantastic. This Demonic Tutor was illustrated by Sumi Ozaku. Sorry if I got that wrong. And it's Japanese exclusive. It's a super awesome art, and I could be wrong, but it looks like it's inspired by traditional Japanese art, or at least a traditional style of Japanese art. But honestly, I have no idea. I'm not Japanese. I do really like it though. I think the art is super cool. Tenato Giancola illustrated this piece for Commander Masters, and it's another absolute banger. The story matches the vibe, and it's got an exquisite level of detail that's pretty awesome. Kieran Yanner illustrated this art for a Secret Lair drop, and this piece is also well done, and fits the story of the card really well. I don't really like this piece though, personal opinion and all that. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. What do you think of Demonic Tutor, and tutors in general? Do they go too far? Do they make the game too consistent, or does it make the game better by making it more consistent? Let me know what you think in the comments. If you liked the video, you can hit like, subscribe if you give a shit, but either way, I hope you have a magical day.